Welcome to Make It Rain with Adam Schein on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Yes, Monday edition, Make It Rain with Adam Schein here on VSiN, and my goodness, we have so much to do today. This is an unbelievable day to talk sports, to wager on sports, so many sports. I gotta tell you, I am so amped for the NFL season. We officially have our first breadcrumb for the NFL schedule that's going to be released coming up in full on Wednesday. We have a season opener, and I can't wait to bet it. Cowboys, Eagles to start the season. It's all sorts of amazing. You gotta love sports. We're going to get into all the hockey. We're going to get into the major breaking news on Giannis Antetokounmpo. We will get into where I think he's going to play, why I think the Giannis future relates to who wins the NBA draft lottery tonight. We'll get into the Cooper Flag sweepstakes and also why I can't stand the lottery, and the team with the worst record should get the number one pick. But we'll get into who we're rooting for and the best fits for Cooper Flag. My guy Derek Carr called it a career. We'll get into what's next for the New Orleans Saints for this upcoming season from a betting perspective. So much to do. The baseball this weekend was off the charts. The baseball this week is going to be off the charts. The Rockies fired Bud Black. We'll get into that. Let's start the show with all the NBA from a weekend in sports and a weekend in sports betting and how it relates to tonight, and really just set the tone and the tempo for this week here on Make It Rain with Adam Schein when it comes to NBA takes, NBA sports betting. And my goodness, we said OKC would beat Denver in 6. And we're on track for being right, but clearly this is not the flow that I expected with regards to how this series is tied at 2. I was floored with the results on Friday. We haven't talked since the Nuggets won in overtime. And listen, I give the Thunder credit here when you look at how they won and how they rallied and the guys who stepped up, and you give OKC credit. A win is a win is a win. I also think there is a bigger picture take here on OKC. If you're picking them, I am, to win this series and a championship, and that has been the case for me all season long, I'm going to have to see a little bit more. Now, just to stress the positive, SGA, 25 points. He was excellent. 9 of the 25 points in the fourth quarter when it mattered. It was only a 3-point lead, and Denver got called inexplicably. It was a terrible job by Denver. Officials absolutely got it right. The 5-second violation on the inbounds. That, simply put, cannot happen. OKC ball, nature of the turnover, and SGA with that turnaround jumper. And the mid-range is so good, such a great weapon. I dig the mid-range jumper. It's old school, and it should be shot more, frankly. And SGA, left elbow, bam. 3 points lead turned into a 5-point lead, turned into a victory for the Oklahoma City Thunder. I thought that was pretty impressive, and I want to give credit where credit is due. I thought Wallace and Wiggins did some really good stuff. I thought that was excellent. I thought Caruso was really strong as well in terms of crunch time. That was great. Look, Jalen Williams was terrible, and to me, he's the second best, most important player on offense for OKC. And honestly, I did not, and I think Adelman's done a great job for Denver, but they really played 6 guys, and they're going up against the deepest team in the league. It's been kind of a weird schedule for this series. The Friday night game and then the quick turnaround with, the Mother's Day early start. That was rough stuff, I thought, for both teams. But, Denver obviously just does not have the depth and does not have the defense and does not have anything when you take a look at it, unfortunately. So when you take a look at the series odds, I still expect OKC to win this one in 6. I still expect OKC to move on to the next round. I also think that the Thunder need to play better. Now, I think Denver, frankly, lost the series in the last game yesterday. I mean, this was, I mentioned the tough turnaround, right? 25 total points in the first quarter. Denver couldn't hit the broadside of a barn early on in this one. The Joker was just not up to his legendary status, let's be clear, and I love Nikola Jokic, 27, 13, and 3. Only 3 assists. In this series, he has 22 assists and 23 turnovers. And clearly he looks tired. He looks splat. They're only playing 6 guys. They don't have a real backup center. It's kind of problematic here in terms of roster configuration. And I think that what transpired in the fourth quarter yesterday, that's going to prove to be the difference in OKC winning this series. I expect Game 5 coming up to be like Game 2, bloodbath, lopsided that favors OKC. Denver's had a great run. They've been through a lot. I think Denver's cooked. And I know it sounds crazy with it tied at 2, but look at Vegas, right? Look at the odds for this game coming up. Clearly Vegas agrees with me. I mean, OKC favored by 10 feels about right. I'll sleep on it, but I'll probably take OKC and lay the 10 for the ball game tomorrow. How about the Indiana Pacers absolutely stomping the hell out of the Cleveland Cavaliers? And Indy is up 3-1 against the best team in the Eastern Conference during the regular season. I would make this case, 80-39 at halftime. That was the single greatest first half of playoff basketball in the history of the NBA. I want you to think about that for a second. When you look at what the Pacers were able to accomplish, 80 points, that's remarkable. 41 point for a halftime lead, 41 points, that's unprecedented. They shot 60% from the field, 66% from 3. I don't think that my take when I call that the greatest half of basketball, and again, playing the 1 seed, and you saw Cleveland win by 20-plus points on Friday night, I don't think that that's exaggeration in any way, shape, or form. Sometimes plus-minus can be overrated. Donovan Mitchell minus 35, Garland minus 21, Mobley minus 27, and Allen minus 24. That is fairly rated. And Tyrese Halliburton did nothing in Game 3. He bounced back incredibly well. You saw Spicy P and Miles Turner and Obi Toppin and company. And now all of a sudden, Pacers are a massive favorite. And here's the deal. As much as I love Cleveland, what the Pacers have done, it's not a fluke. I mean, they've been one of the 4 or 5 best teams in basketball. I mean, you could use a couple of measuring sticks. Last 2 seasons, you could say one of the 4 or 5 best teams in basketball since the calendar flipped to 2025. That's who they are. That's what they do. I love watching the Pacers. I'm stunned, and I've been dead wrong, and I'm really, really disappointed in Cleveland. But we're going to call this one. I think the only question is how many games. I mean, it's almost disrespectful at this stage to bet against and pick against the Indiana Pacers. They're too great to sit here and think anything else. So I'm sad, I'm disappointed, I'm disgusted in just how awful here the Cleveland Cavaliers have been in this second round. I took the cheese on Cleveland being more than just a regular season team. Clearly, I have been dead wrong, and now Donovan Mitchell is banged up, and, with the ankle, he's a game-time decision coming up for game number 5. My Knicks look to take a 3-1 series lead tonight, and I love the way we phrased that, right? Look to take a 3-1 series lead, because it's true, and that's the Knick fan in me fired up, and the Knick fan and our incredible producer, Michael Cohen, fired up. And obviously, it's better to stress the positive if you're a Knicks fan, because that was a complete and utter disaster on Saturday. And I was so excited. Go New York, go New York, go. If the Knicks keep playing like this, it's going to be go New York, gone. I mean, Boston was tremendous and needed a hot start, and they got it. They were 25 of 100 first 2 games from 3. They were 20 for 40 from 3 in this game. First quarter, it was 36-20 favoring the Boston Celtics. 6 of 7 from 3. Pritchard was terrific. Tatum was terrific. Brown was really good. Brunson had 27, but look at the field goals, 9 of 21. He had to work hard. Nobody else stepped up. OG Anunoby was a monster negative in this game. Karl Anthony Towns was not. I know the numbers are good. If you watch the game, low field goal percentage, you expected more. I mean, just a bitter disappointment here, effort-wise, energy-wise. I personally would like to see not even a panic move a lineup change on necessity. I'd love to see Mitchell Robinson in the starting lineup and have Josh Hart come off the bench. I would love to see it tonight. It's not going to happen, but Knicks have been terrible at home this postseason. The spread on this game tonight is 6.5. You know, I've said consistently I wouldn't touch it, right? I wouldn't touch Knicks Celtics from a point spread perspective. Knicks win, I'm not surprised. Knicks lose by 26, I'm not surprised. I mean, that's where we are right now. I have to imagine the Knicks are going to play better tonight because they haven't even played a good game up 2-1 yet. If Boston wins tonight, I'm declaring this puppy over. I'm just telling you right now. I don't think that it's a fact and a lock that whoever wins tonight wins the series. If the Knicks win tonight, I don't think it's over. If the Celtics win tonight, I do think it's over. I know that might sound funny because if the Knicks win, it's 3-1, Boston 2-2, but I don't think the Knicks would be capable of taking 2 of 3 from Boston down the stretch. You look at the Vegas odds, it has shifted once again based upon what happened on Saturday. Boston minus 300, monster favorite now to win this series. Told you at the end of the week last week that we would not see the Golden State Warriors win again. They had a golden opportunity to prove me wrong when you take a look at what transpired on Saturday night. Too much Ant-Man. Anthony Edwards was unbelievable. 36 points. He was sensational. Julius Randle was fantastic. And no Steph, it's just not going to happen. So we have another ball game tonight. It is in Golden State. In theory, you know, Warriors at home, you'd say, okay, nice advantage. I will stay very consistent here. The Golden State Warriors, 5.5 point dogs, have no shot tonight. I think that Minnesota is going to win. I think Minnesota is going to cover. And I think Anthony Edwards pumps in about 40 tonight.
If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You're watching Make It Rain on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Smarter bets start here and last all year long with VSiN Pro. For a limited time, we're slashing the price of the annual subscription. Normally $240, now just $199. When you sign up today, we're going to throw in 2 extra months for free. That's 14 months of VSiN Pro access for less than 50 cents a day. When you use the promo code PRO, get 14 months of access to our daily best bets from VSiN hosts and guests, exclusive splits from DraftKings and Circa, 24/7, live video and full show replays on the VSiN Watch app, plus all of our special edition betting guides. Head on over to VSiN.com/subscribe right now. Use the promo code PRO. Lock in 14 months of VSiN Pro for just $199. VSiN.com/subscribe. Welcome back, Make It Rain with Adam Schein. So many reasons why you gotta love sports. And the number one reason why today, without question, we have a matchup. We have a point spread. We have an over-under to start the season in the National Football League. The NFL schedule is going to be released coming up on Wednesday in full. And they have some scheduled drips and drabs and breadcrumbs being released to get the juices flowing, and this is all sorts of awesome. It's going to be the Dallas Cowboys taking on the Philadelphia Eagles to start the season. That's going to be on Thursday to start the campaign, September the 4th, and I can't wait for it. And look, we talked about the possibilities for who would play Philly when they raised the banner, and the first idea that I had was the Rams, obviously. Based upon what happened last year, divisional round, I think Eagles and Rams could be on paper the two best teams in the NFC. I thought that made a lot of sense. McVay, Stafford, Devontae Adams, Jared Verse, Puka Nacua, all the reasons why you love LA. I thought the sneaky historical buzz team with storylines could be the Raiders, right? Chip Kelly goes back to Philly, Ashton Genty, Pete Carroll, Geno Smith. They go with the old school, traditional, buzzworthy team, and they do it with the Cowboys, who are playing Philly for the first time in week 1 in 25 years. And this is the smart play right after the George Pickens trade. And you know, after the Pickens trade, it changed everything in terms of the perception, the reality on who the Cowboys can be, what that passing attack is going to look like. So I love every single second of this choice. Eagles fans, they despise the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, it's just different in Philly when it's Dallas week. And now it's going to be, for the first time in 25 years, Dallas 3 months when you take a look at building up to the season, which is going to be unreal. I mean, you could already recite the, Andrew Marchand athletic article the next day where it's going to be a record setter in terms of rating. This will be the highest rated game in the history of NBC in terms of opening a season. I mean, it's still Dallas, America's team. Prescott's healthy. They bring in Pickens, opposite side, CeeDee Lamb, and the Eagles are absolutely loaded. Now, if we have the picks, listen, we got to tell you who we like in this one. I'm grabbing the points with Dallas. Not that I'm going to take them to win the game. 7's too much. And I'll take you a step further. I love the over here with the aforementioned studs at the wide receiver position, with obviously a healthy Prescott, with improvement at the running back position. The offensive line's better. The defense is better. And Philly's Philly. I mean, this one has 31-26 written all over it, with the Eagles winning, Dallas covers, and the over a hit. So that's where my brain is here in the middle of May. I am fired up. And I think the Cowboys are going to be better than people anticipate, right? You take a look at that NFC East. I can't stress enough how much I love the Cowboys in terms of their over win total. I think Dallas is going to win at least 9 games. And I really love the staff that Brian Schottenheimer put together. I am really fired up at this choice here by the league office, the National Football League. This is going to be great for buzz, great for sports gambling. How about the Panthers and the Maple Leafs? And honestly, as a Maple Leafs bettor, I'm sick. As someone who always roots for the Maple Leafs to shine in the postseason, I'm nauseous. And, last night, tipped the cap to Bob, right? Bobrovsky was awesome between the pipes. Florida 2-0 shutout. The game that's going to stick with me is Friday night, because we had Maple Leafs on the money line at plus 195, goes into overtime, and listen, it's Marchand of all people, Brad Marchand, who, when he was with the Bruins, would torment the Maple Leafs constantly, over and over and over again. So I still like the Maple Leafs to win the series. Home ice has clearly mattered in this one. I'm still picking Toronto in 6. Nothing has changed. Now, they have to handle pressure. Still signs, when you watch them play, first 2 rounds, they can do that. They can protect home ice. So that's where my brain is at, even though I thought for sure, and I was wrong, that it would be 3-1 Toronto when we reconvene today on Make It Rain with Adam Schein. Not the case. So now Toronto's going to have to roll its sleeves up, get a little dirty, deal with adversity, and turn over a new leaf for the Leafs in terms of handling all sorts of adversity in the postseason. Stars beat the Jets. Dallas leads the series 2-1. Another night, another majestic game for Mikko Rantanen. Absolutely incredible. A goal, 2 assists. I mean, just amazing what he's been able to do this postseason. I love Dallas to win. Dallas is much better. I think that Winnipeg is a bit fraudulent. I am absolutely backing Dallas to take care of business. How about Aaron Judge? Are you kidding me? All rise, you freaks. Aaron Judge, 4 for 5 Sunday against the A's. Batting average back over 400. You gotta love sports. Yankees able to beat the A's in Sacramento. Ben Rice in his first career Grand Slam. And the Yankees being able to take that series is a big deal, especially On Saturday afternoon, Judge hit a couple of home runs, and the Yankees bullpen blew it. That was obviously unfortunate in every possible way if you're a Yankee fan like me. But listen, to be able to win 12-2 and watch all the heroics, that was certainly fun stuff. Look, I'm going to put up the AL MVP odds for effect because this is lopsided here. And watching Judge hit those homers, I mean, I want you to just stare at this. Aaron Judge, it's not even Memorial Day. Aaron Judge is minus 2,000 for the AL MVP. Minus 2,000. He leads baseball in batting average, 409, OPS, 1.274. And he's tied for the lead with 14 homers. He has more three-hit games than hitless games this season. He is coming off of his third game of the season with 4 more hits. He has a 409 batting average. That is the 4th highest ever for a player with at least 14 homers in the first 40 games of a season. He's Ted Williams meets Barry Bonds. Or, better phrased, he's Aaron Judge. This is who he is. This is what you expect. Game in, game out, season in, season out. You gotta love sports. I love Kyle Schwarber. Always wanted him on the Yankees in the worst possible way. I loved him at Indiana in college. I was obsessed with him with the Cubs and what he meant to the team when they won the World Series. Obsessed with him in Boston and Washington. And boys, he found a home in Philly. He has 14 homers, tied with Judge for the most in baseball. A couple of dingers against the Guards. That was the difference last night. And you look at Schwarber, he's absolutely locked in. He is an absolute stud. Great win for Philly against the Guards. And I'm telling you, don't sleep on the Philadelphia Phillies as a team that's going to be able to ultimately win the NL East and or find a way, bare bones minimum, to make the postseason. Twins walked it off and swept the Giants in a 3-game series. How about the Twins? Winners of 8 straight. They move over 500 for the first time this season. Twins piping hot. AL Central has just been on fire. And listen, the Twins right now, even as the 4th best team, when you take a look at the division, they've had this unbelievable ability to just put together great at-bats. The pitching has been terrific. Look, I think the Tigers are better. I think the Royals are better. The Royals are piping hot. Guardians, they're a professional outfit. But if you're a Twins fan, you gotta love sports. Cardinals beat the Nationals, and the Cardinals are also on an 8-game winning streak. I have been wrong on the Cardinals so far. I did not expect them to dominate Washington like they did, to go on an 8-game winning streak, and to be in the position that they're in right now when you take a look at the Central and the National League. Still don't love them big picture, but look, they're 22-19. The division is relatively weak. Let's give credit where credit is due to the St. Louis Cardinals. And let's give Major Monster credit. If you're a Mets fan, you got to say you got to love sports. How about Francisco Lindor again? Another at-bats, another moment where he's able to lead the Mets to a victory. Go-ahead homer. Mets take a series against the Cubbies. 17-11 the Mets are against teams who are 500 or better this season. That's the most total wins and best winning percentage right now in MLB. Mets baseball, Francisco Lindor. You gotta love sports.
You're watching Make It Rain on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Bet the Preakness Stakes with First Bet and get rewarded. New customers can use the promo code VSiN200 to score a 20% rebate on all wagers for the first 60 days. Up to $200. That's win or lose. You get paid back. Download the First Bet app or visit first.com/bet. Use the promo code VSiN200 to get started today. That's firstbet.com. Promo code VSiN200. Welcome back, Make It Rain with Adam Schein. Joining us right now live in the Progressive Guest Line, Greg Peterson, the critically acclaimed host of the Baseball Betting Show podcast and Saturday's Cashing Out here on VSiN. Greg, how are you?
Adam, I am doing tremendous. It has been a great baseball season thus far. Just a great weekend in sports in general. So fired up to be with you on a Monday.
As always, Greg, and it really has been an incredible start to the baseball season. And, you know, I don't know if I'm old school, but I still believe this, right, when it comes to, you know, the day after Labor Day, that's when you start taking, a day after Memorial Day, that's when you really start to take the temperature for the first time for teams and what's happening going into the crystal ball and where you were right and where you were wrong and certain trends. And I think that's an important backdrop here for the Cardinals and the Philadelphia Phillies, because the Cardinals have really surprised me. 8-game winning streak. I did not see this happening. What a credit to the guys in that clubhouse. They have really bounced back brilliantly. Now, tonight, I think it's a tough spot. I'm a big Philly fan. They've got a good home field advantage. I like the energy that Philadelphia's played with. What do you see tonight? Do the good times come to an end for the St. Louis Cardinals?
I do think so. And we've seen the St. Louis Cardinals go on a few massive runs. I still remember the one in, I believe it was like September of 2022, when they were able to make it into the playoffs and Adam Wainwright was facing off against the Dodgers in that one-game wild card. That was epic. But I do think that Christopher Sanchez is just a completely different beast at home rather than when he's away from home. His ERA since the beginning of the 2024 season, about 2 full points lower when he's in Philadelphia rather than on the road. And he's getting north of 13 strikeouts per 9 innings at home compared to 6.5 strikeouts per 9 innings away from home. There's just something about the ballpark where his stuff is able to dance a little bit more. I don't know if he just is able to pick up and he's able to just find it a little bit more at home, but he's been tremendous there. For Matthew Liberatore, has been a guy that's been a little bit more of a fade throughout his career on the road rather than at home. I just don't have a lot of faith in that St. Louis Cardinals bullpen as well. It's been a little bit better recently, but we have seen some of these guys like JoJo Romero and company have their struggles. And I know you were mentioning Kyle Schwarber a little bit earlier. That guy is one of the hottest players, not named Aaron Judge, on the face of planet Earth as well. So I do like the Philadelphia Phillies getting that plus 120 on the run line.
Yeah, we're on the same page. I like Philly. It's a great call with Philly on the run line. I think that's some good juice there. And Schwarber, watching him rake is just a lot of fun. Fascinating to get your take on the Diamondbacks and the Giants. I kind of love the Diamondbacks tonight. I like them a lot, Greg, in general. You know, I mentioned that Memorial Day, you know, kind of the first time you really take the temperature. Arizona's been good. I think Arizona has a whole different level. Look, the headline from yesterday, right? It's Freddie goes 4 for 4, and it's Mookie hits a homer, and it's Dodgers this and Dodgers that. Look, I thought the split was actually noteworthy from this weekend and kind of said more about Arizona in a positive way. I expect Arizona to keep it going. Kelly versus Verlander. I really like Arizona against the Giants tonight.
Now, I am actually going to go opposite here. I'm going to go with the San Francisco Giants, mainly because I just don't trust Merrill Kelly on the road. With Merrill Kelly, when he has been at home, he has been dynamic. For his career, 3.25 ERA at home, less than a home run allowed per 9 innings. This shoots up to a 4.47 on the road with 1.4 home runs per 9 innings. Now, the good news is he's pitching out there in San Francisco, a little bit more of a pitcher's ballpark out there, but I also just take a look at the bullpen advantage that the San Francisco Giants have as well. These guys like Camilo Doval, who last year, that was not the real Camilo Doval. He's back to being his old self. Having someone like an Eric Miller, I think that that's very big. And for Arizona, that A.J. Puck injury, I think is really going to be costing them here in the next few weeks because he's one of the better closers, in my opinion, in all of baseball. But I'm right there with you. Overall, I'm very bullish on the Arizona Diamondbacks. I do think that this is a little bit of a tough spot, especially coming off of a series against the LA Dodgers that, as we both know, you get up for the LA Dodgers.
Without question. That's a good way to phrase it, too, with Kelly being on the road, the splits home versus road, Arizona emotion going from the Dodgers to the Giants. How about Pirates-Mets? And, you know, at first blush, I was like, oh, great, it's Peterson Skeens. Let me try and find the way to take the under on this one. The number 7 is a really low number, so I'm going to skip that one. You know, I kind of want to get, I don't want to say nuts, but giddy and take the Pirates on the money line because it is Paul Skeens, but the Mets have been as great, better than anyone in baseball to start this season. What do you expect tonight? Should be a fun one. Beautiful night in New York. Skeens versus Peterson in Citi Field.
And Peterson, for one, great name, by the way, so we're always a fan of that. But that said, with regards to David Peterson, he's been able to do a nice job of really honing it in because last year his swing and miss stuff was honestly way down from what it had been in the past. Now he's not walking a lot of guys. He's still getting those good strikeouts, but I just can't turn down getting right around about plus 140 on Paul Skeens. When this opened up more around like a 115 or so, that was a little bit too low for me. Now that this has gone up to a plus 140, I'm even seeing as high as plus 142, I'm going to give it a shot. And you just hope that the guys not named Paul Skeens actually do their part because you know what Skeens is going to be able to do. Recognize that 2 starts ago against the Chicago Cubs, gave up those 3 home runs, a little bit less than tremendous, but he's still getting good swings and misses. He's still not issuing a lot of walks. And the bullpen's been a little bit better for the Pirates ever since the Shelton canning. So I do think that they're playing with a little bit more adrenaline right now. And with the Pittsburgh Pirates, they just need to generate a few runs because this team is right now dead last in the National League in terms of runs per game. I think that they're going to do just enough to be able to get the job done. Plus 140, I just can't turn that down with Paul Skeens.
How about Yankees-Mariners tonight? And listen, I picked the Mariners preseason to make the playoffs, so they're making me look good so far. I do think that the Yankees have the pitching matchup advantage tonight. I did Clark Schmidt. Yankees, look, it's just the A's, but Aaron Judge locked in, even as bad as the bullpen was on Saturday. Yankees feeling good after taking a series. The offense clicked. Fascinated, Greg, to get your take on this one tonight.
I think that the number has just gotten a little bit too high on Emerson Hancock, being able to get right around plus 125, plus 130. I'm going to be willing to dive in here because with Hancock, his numbers are very much warped. His first start of the season was absolutely abysmal. He went out there for 2/3 of an inning, gave up 6 runs against the Detroit Tigers, just did not look like a big league pitcher. Ever since then, he has been able to give this team 3 runs or fewer allowed in each out of his last 4 starts, has won 6+ innings in each out of the last 3 starts as well. And for Seattle, this is a ballpark that it actually suppresses offense more than Coors Field elevates offense if you look at 2024 ballpark factors. So I think that that's going to very much play to his advantage. And for Clark Schmidt, he's never really been a guy that I've been bullish on or bearish on. He's like if you were to take a snapshot photo of a league average pitcher, it would be Clark Schmidt. So, that's where I pretty much stand on him. But I do think that with the way that the Mariners have gotten Ori Polanco along Cal Raleigh going, as this has been one of the best offenses in all of baseball, I do think that they're going to be able to hold in there with the Yankees. I like what I'm seeing right now out of a young gun and Emerson Hancock. So being able to get this sort of a plus number, I'm going to be willing to take that money line.
How about Tigers-Red Sox? Should be a good one tonight.
Oh, absolutely. With Jackson Jobe, former top 5 overall pick, now you're able to get him at a plus price. I do like him on the money line because Tanner Houck has just been super shaky. I recognize that he had that one start where he gave up like 12 runs against the Tampa Bay Rays, and right now that's ballooning all of his metrics. But for Tanner Houck, ever since the All-Star break of 2024, just has not been his normal self. And if you get an even-up pitching matchup with regards to these 2 starters, the Tigers' bullpen just blows you away. The Tigers have so many guys that you're able to mix and match with. Brandon Herter being able to give you multiple innings, the way that Will Vest and company have been able to step up in that bullpen. And for the Boston Red Sox, it's been a really good story, what we've seen out of Liam Hendricks, but I just don't have that level of trust in them. And also the Detroit Tigers lineup has really stepped up. Like, Javi Baez was as useful as a poopy flavored lollipop for like 2 or 3 years. And all of a sudden, he's giving you something. You've been able to get a lot out of the likes of Zach McKinstry moving the line, Riley Green, Spencer Torkelson, these guys being able to go yard. And for the Tigers, they're now a top 3 offense in the American League in terms of runs per game. So I do like the Tigers here on the money line. I think that Jobe is able to do just enough against Tanner Houck, and the rest of the guys pick him up from there.
Greg going with a couple of dogs tonight. I love it. How about the Royals and the Astros?
With regards to this one, it's a case where with the Royals, they just have not been able to put up a lot of runs in general. And Ryan Gusto is a guy that I think is a little bit undervalued in general. Right now, we're seeing this go down to about a minus 122. That would be about my max lay on the Astros, as Gusto has actually been good in the bullpen. He's been good as a starter as well. And for Michael Wacha, relatively steady Eddie guy. But I do think that the Astros, in the end with that bullpen, find a way to get it done. So we'll lay the Astros on the money line.
Greg, you're the best. We always appreciate the time. We, of course, will be listening to the Baseball Betting Show podcast. It's absolutely incredible. It's a must listen and subscribe. And, of course, Saturday's Cashing Out program here on VSiN. Keep up the great work, and we'll talk to you next week.
Absolutely. Always love it, Adam. Thank you.
You're watching Make It Rain on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Edge Boost is the first ever bank account built for bettors, ensuring all gambling transactions are approved. No usage fees, no minimums, earn cashback rewards, 100% approval for all betting deposits. Sign up today at edgeboost.bet with the promo code RAIN. Deposit $25. Edge Boost will match the deposit. That's edgeboost.bet. Welcome back, Make It Rain with Adam Schein. Time for our news, notes, nuggets, and nightly plays. And let's start with some monster news in the NBA. Our friend Shams Charania over at ESPN broke the story this morning that Giannis Antetokounmpo is officially open to exploring other teams. And I will interpret this report. He gone. If he's open to exploring other teams, this is a far cry from Giannis signing an extension and wanting to play in Milwaukee for life. And we made a big deal about this when the Bucks were eliminated by the Indiana Pacers. And Giannis had a chance to say that he was going to be in Milwaukee forever, and he did not. And that's because he knows, and I'll speak for him, Bucks are an embarrassment. They've done everything wrong. The head coaching situation is deplorable. Doc Rivers doesn't know which way is up. The Dame trade hasn't worked. He's not 100% Lillard. He won't play next season. It's a mess. Every single element of this is a mess. So I firmly believe that Giannis Antetokounmpo has played his last game with the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, he's not a free agent. He's under contract for the next couple of years. And I think that's important here when you start taking a look at odds for Giannis's next team. And we'll get into the draft lottery coming up in a second. But when you look at the odds for the next team, and I do think the draft lottery can impact this based upon the results tonight. But I think, and we've talked about this, the Nets make a ton of sense for Giannis Antetokounmpo. And I think that Brooklyn, and I've always heard that Giannis wants to play in New York, I think they make complete sense. I think if the Thunder don't win a championship, that team makes complete sense. I think the Rockets, we'll see what happens tonight with the Rockets and the draft lottery. I think Houston is a great fit. I think San Antonio is a great fit. I think Golden State is a great fit. And I think the Lakers, and not pictured on the board, the Knicks and the Celtics will be in the conversation here for the next team for Giannis Antetokounmpo. So it's going to be the summer of Giannis, and we can't wait for it, and this is going to be spicy, and it's going to be juicy. But I would never in a million years bet on the Milwaukee Bucks. I think that the minute that the genie's out of the bottle, I think Giannis is gone. So I do think tonight with the draft lottery is going to factor in here. I don't think that there's any question about that. So we will see ultimately how it plays out with the draft lottery. And then the summer of Giannis Antetokounmpo, I think that Brooklyn, I think that the Rockets, I think the Warriors and the Spurs make the most sense. What's next for one of the 5 best players on the planet who deserves more? And the Bucks organization is a total mess, and they're not even close to being championship contender. Giannis signed that contract a couple of years ago. They traded for Damian Lillard, and everything has been a complete and utter failure. How about Derek Carr announced his retirement in stunning fashion on Saturday? And Derek Carr is a personal favorite of mine. He comes on the radio show on Shine On Sports, on Mad Dog Sports Radio, and Sirius XM. He's done that every single year of his career, once or twice a year. Derek Carr, really good quarterback. He was never great because of chaos around him. Played for 6 different head coaches with the Raiders. Had to deal with a literal franchise move, relocation. Remember the Antonio Brown nonsense? 7 different offensive coordinators with the Raiders. Went to New Orleans and had to play for Dennis Allen. So a really good career. I voted for him for the 2016 MVP. At times was great, was a model of consistency and reliability, started 15 or more games in 10 straight seasons, and I always appreciate the hell out of Derek Carr. Epitome of class and toughness. His teammates loved him. I just felt bad, the way Josh McDaniels treated him at the end, kicking him out of the entire team, and John Gruden, forever, having a wandering eye, and all the Jack Del Rio nonsense. I mean, we could go all the way back here on our guy Derek Carr. Now, moving it forward for the New Orleans Saints, I mean, boy, I don't know how they win 7 or more games, which means I currently like the under at minus 180. And clearly they're the worst team in their division, and their division is not exactly murderer's row. Tyler Shook, come on down. I mean, right now I think that it's in order. Bucks, Falcons, Panthers, Saints. 6.5 actually feels kind of high. You also wonder aloud, if Kellen Moore and Mickey Loomis are going to keep an eye on, I don't know, Arch Manning when it comes to 2026. Just throwing that out there because that makes sense. And sometimes when you hit that lottery, that changes everything for a franchise. Speaking of hitting a lottery, we have the NBA Draft Lottery tonight. And this is really code for the Cooper Flag draft, right? Let's be crystal clear about that. And I think that, first of all, I despise the lottery. I hate that you have multiple teams that tank. Drives me nuts. I think the NBA should go with what the NFL has. Worst team gets the number 1 pick. What a concept. Now, here are the odds, right? And it comes down to percentages and, where we're at right now. I'll tell you, Cooper Flag on Washington, that is a dormant, embarrassing franchise. No one will care. Charlotte, I have always argued, is a good basketball, good professional sports town. Obviously, great college city, but, you don't really want it. Utah, I mean, Danny Ainge is a great exec, but I feel like that's where hope goes to die. If the Sixers win the draft lottery tonight, I'm going bonkers. I'm just telling you that right now. I'm going to go out of my mind, ballistic and bonkers if Philly ends up winning the draft. I mean, that would be completely unacceptable. My favorite personal fits, I love the Brooklyn fit. I love the Toronto fit. I love the fits with the Houston Rockets, and I love the fit with the San Antonio Spurs. And this could also impact, as we mentioned, what's next here for Giannis Antetokounmpo. Capitals, Hurricanes, Game 4 tonight. And honestly, we're going to roll here with Washington. I think that Washington is too good to look this bad for this long. I think Alexander Ovechkin puts his stamp on this one tonight. I expect Washington to win. I know what the odds say. It's a massive upset. In a related story, I don't care. Golden Knights and the Oilers, Game 4 tonight. Our guy Sean, who is our incredible Emmy Award-winning audio engineer for Make It Rain with Adam Schein. He basically is the Golden Knights mascot. He's at every single home game, has season tickets, drives his Zamboni. They honor him, at every single moment. He was all sorts of giddy when we were getting ready for the show today. I love the Oilers. I mean, that was so flukish how they lost the other night. I still can't believe that actually happened. Draisaitl, McDavid take care of business. Hyman takes care of business tonight. I'm not even convinced this is going to be a close contest. And finally, the Rockies put our guy Bud Black out of his misery. And Bud Black is a terrific manager. I feel bad for him. Dick Monfort, the owner of the Rockies, is cheap and clueless. You realize they've never won a division in the history of the franchise. They lost 21-0 on Saturday. They're 7-33. Begs the question, how do they even win 7? Run differential of minus 128. That's the second worst run differential in 40 days, in 40 games to start the season since 1900. I mean, it's amateur hour. That's Colorado Rockies baseball. They need to sell the team. I feel bad for the great fans in Denver. Time for the best bets, brought to you by G-Bank. G-Bank Visa signature card. Get it today. Most credit cards treat the sportsbook and the gaming transactions as cash advances, but you got to put your own money on the card. G-Bank treats the gaming transactions as purchases, so when you're saving up to 3 to 5% on the cash advance fees and the gaming transactions right there. Also with G-Bank, you're earning 1% cash back on rewards on eligible sportsbook and gaming transactions, 2% cash back. Go to VSiN.com/GBank, VSiN.com/GBank. Here are our best bets for tonight. Got some hockey, we got some basketball, we got some baseball, Oilers money line, Capitals money line, Diamondbacks money line. And can Mitchell Robinson just give me 5 points tonight? That's all. Maybe a free throw or two. Maybe not. Stay tuned to VSiN after Make It Rain for Follow the Money. Paulie and Mike Palm in today. Dan Carpook's going to be on the show. He's got all the prop bets for the NBA tonight. Then it's VSiN Prime Time with Timmy Murray and Matty Humans. You gotta love sports. And then it's Cashing Out featuring Joe Sarala. Thanks to Sean and Reggie and Maddie and all the guys in the Vegas studios. Thanks to our incredible producer, the great Mike Cohen. Talk to you mañana. Make it rain with Adam Schein.
Almost ready. First round of fireballs on me.
You called?
Who are you?
I'm the Fireball Dragon, and I'm here to grant you 3 wishes.
Really?
Hell no! I'm here to torch your tonsils and make tonight a night to remember.
What is even going on right now?
You're in a radio commercial.
Wait, I'm in a commercial?
Ignite the night with Fireball.
What is going on here?
Please drink responsibly. Whiskey with natural cinnamon flavor, 33% alcohol by volume, produced by Cesar Co. Louisville, Kentucky.